The Secret of Prayer: 10 Steps to Powerful Prayer. Discover how to make your prayers more effective with our 10 essential tips. Deepen your spiritual connection and witness real changes in your prayer practice. Don't miss this revealing video. Number 10. Integration with action. In a time of deep reflection and seeking, a believer found themselves pondering the words they had lifted up to the heavens in prayer. For days, they had asked for wisdom and opportunities to better serve their community, patiently awaiting a sign or a miracle to guide their way. However, as the days passed, they began to understand that the answer they sought might not come in the form of a sudden revelation, but through their own actions. They recalled an ancient teaching from their youth: faith without works is dead. Moved by this powerful idea, they decided that every prayer they made should be accompanied by a concrete step towards their goals. They began by offering their time at a community kitchen, helping to prepare and serve food to those in need. Every dish they delivered, every smile they shared, became a living prayer, an echo of their morning words. Over time, the community began to notice a change, not only in the circumstances surrounding the believer, but in their spirit. What had started as an act of faith transformed into a chain of small miracles, woven together by dedication and love. Through their example, others learned that the true essence of prayer lies not only in what we ask for, but in how we respond to our own calls to action. Number 9. Persistence. In the ancient narrative of the faithful, there is the story of a woman named Miriam, whose devotion and persistence in prayer were known throughout her community. For years, Miriam faced great adversities: a loved one's illness, scarcity in her home, and challenges that would test any heart's faith. Yet, she never ceased to lift up her prayers each dawn, convinced that her steadfastness would be heard. Her neighbors observed, and some murmured about her unwavering routine, questioning if her efforts were worthwhile. However, Miriam's story took a turn when the coldest season brought not only frost, but also the harshness of discouragement among her people. It was then that Miriam's prayers began to manifest their power. As she persisted, small improvements began to emerge. Her loved one's health strengthened, opportunities to sustain her family multiplied, and her spirit radiated a hope that spread throughout the community. Her example taught many that persistence in prayer is not just an act of faith, but a demonstration of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Through her, it was revealed that persistence is a form of continuous dialogue with the divine, where each request and each word held over time builds the bridge through which blessings can cross into our lives. Number 8. The posture of prayer. In ancient days, in a village forgotten by time, lived a wise elder named Elias, known for his deep spirituality and his peculiar way of praying. Unlike many, Elias chose to pray at the top of a small hill that faced east, where the first rays of the sun illuminated his figure every morning. Always on his knees, with arms extended towards the sky and his gaze fixed on the horizon, his posture was a symbol of total surrender and humility before the divine. The villagers, intrigued by this practice, began to visit the hill to observe the elder, seeking to understand how his posture influenced his spiritual connection. Over time, Elias shared his wisdom, explaining that the posture of prayer was not simply a tradition, but a physical expression of his inner state. By kneeling, I acknowledge my smallness in the face of the Creator's greatness. By raising my hands, I openly receive the blessings He pours upon me, he explained. This act of humility and receptivity became a powerful testimony for all who witnessed it. Inspired by Elias, many began to adopt his posture during prayer, experiencing a profound change in their spiritual lives. The practice taught the people that physical posture can reflect and enhance the sincerity of the heart, making each prayer an act of genuine devotion and deep connection with the sacred. Number 7. The power of the word. In the valley, where words resonated with an almost divine clarity, there was a young woman named Sarah, whose voice and choice of words in prayer captivated those around her. Sarah firmly believed in the transformative power of words. She knew that every syllable and every phrase uttered in prayer carried a spiritual weight that could alter realities. Aware of this power, Sarah dedicated time to meditate on the scriptures, seeking the most resonant and meaningful words for her supplications. She not only prayed for personal needs or desires, but her prayers were also a chant for the peace and prosperity of her community. One day, while praying in the town square, her voice rose among the crowd, uttering words of hope and unity with such fervor that even the most skeptical paused to listen. "May peace be our path and light our guide," Sarah prayed, using words charged with meaning and emotion. These carefully chosen and fervently spoken words began to weave a palpable change in the heart of the community. Disputes began to diminish, and a new spirit of collaboration and understanding took root in the town. Sarah's story and her prayerful practice spread, teaching many the true power of words in prayer, not only as a means of communication with the divine, but as catalysts for real and positive change in the material world. Number 6. Clarity in petition. In a time marked by confusion and uncertainty, a pious man named Jonas sought divine guidance for his community. Jonas understood that prayers often seemed to go unanswered, not due to lack of divine attention, but because of the ambiguity with which they were formulated. Determined to change this, he decided to teach his people the value of clarity in petition during prayer. He knew that being specific in petitions not only showed a clear understanding of what they truly needed, but also reflected a mature and thoughtful faith. Jonas began organizing small prayer groups where he guided his companions in the practice of formulating clear and concise petitions. When we pray for rain, let's say exactly which fields need to be watered and when it would be most opportune, he instructed. The community learned to ask not only for general blessings, but for specific interventions in particular situations, such as the healing of a named sick person or the success of a harvest in a specific field. Over time, the responses to these prayers became more evident, and the community's faith was strengthened. Jonas's practice left a lasting lesson: that clarity in prayer is essential for true communion with the divine, allowing petitions to align more closely with divine purpose and facilitating the manifestation of their responses. Number 5. Listening in the silence. In ancient times, in a quiet monastery located on the outskirts of a forgotten village, lived a monk named Elion, renowned for his profound wisdom and his ability to discern divine answers in silence. Elion taught that while prayer is essentially a communication with the divine, the act of listening after praying is equally vital. According to him, it was in the deep and meditative silence that followed the words where the clearest answers and most accurate guidance were found. Elion spent long hours in meditation after each prayer session, immersed in a silence that was, for him, the purest language of God. Over time, Elion's practice attracted many spiritual seekers eager to learn the art of listening in silence. He instructed them, saying, "When you finish speaking, do not rush to get up and return to your tasks. Stay still, open your heart, and allow the silence to speak to you. It is in this apparent emptiness where the echo of your words finds a response." Elion's disciples learned to value these moments of stillness as a sacred space to receive guidance and confirmation. They observed that by practicing active listening after prayer, they not only enriched their spiritual understanding but also strengthened their patience and mental clarity, discovering that often the deepest and most meaningful answers come not through noise, but from the quiet whisper of silence. Number 4. Constant connection. In a small village surrounded by vast forests, lived Leora, a woman known for her constant and fervent practice of prayer. Leora believed that prayer should not be limited to specific moments of the day or urgent situations of need, but rather it was a continuous dialogue with the divine, woven into the daily activities of her life. Every action, from preparing food to tending the garden, was accompanied by soft words of gratitude or silent requests, creating a continuous communication with God. This approach kept her in a perpetual state of divine presence, turning every moment into an opportunity to strengthen her spiritual bond. The villagers, upon witnessing the serenity and grace emanating from Leora, felt inspired to adopt her practice. Gradually, the entire village began to integrate prayer into their daily lives in a more fluid and constant manner. The transformation was palpable. Conflicts softened, joy and cooperation flourished. Leora's story and her practice of constant connection taught everyone that prayer is much more than an occasional act of faith. It is a way of life that invites the divine into every aspect of daily life, creating an environment where spiritual communion becomes the foundation for a harmonious and empathetic community. Number 3. Preceding gratitude. In the mountains where the sky seemed to touch the earth, lived a wise elder named Tobias, deeply admired for his constant attitude of gratitude. Before making any requests in his prayers, Tobias always began by expressing gratitude for the blessings already received, no matter how big or small. This practice was not only an act of acknowledgement towards divine providence but also prepared his heart to receive even more, establishing a foundation of humility and appreciation for life. Preceding gratitude, as Tobias called it, was his way of affirming that, regardless of current circumstances, there are always reasons to be thankful. This approach transformed not only his personal life but also that of his community. Inspired by his example, his neighbors began to incorporate preceding gratitude into their own prayer practices. Over time, this change led to an atmosphere of positivity and hope that permeated the village, even in times of difficulty. Community gatherings and collective prayer sessions began with moments dedicated to sharing thanks, strengthening the bonds among its members and increasing collective resilience. Thus, Tobias's teaching demonstrated that beginning each prayer with a grateful heart is not only a tribute to past blessings but also a powerful precursor for the manifestation of future grace. Number 2. Sincerity of the heart. In a small coastal village, surrounded by the immense blue of the ocean, lived a young woman named Mara. Known for her candor and honesty, Mara taught the children of the village the importance of sincerity, not only in daily actions but also in prayer. She firmly believed that praying with a sincere heart was essential for true communication with the divine. Mara explained that prayers should not be mere recitations of superficial desires or empty words but authentic expressions of the soul reflecting genuine needs and feelings. Mara's practice soon deeply influenced the community. The villagers, inspired by her example, began to open their hearts more authentically during their prayers. This change not only improved their spiritual lives but also strengthened relationships within the community, as sincerity brings greater trust and empathy among people. Mara's prayers, always deep and reflective, became a model to follow, demonstrating how the sincerity of the heart can transform not only individual prayer practice but also weave a stronger network of support and understanding throughout an entire community. Number 1. Expectation of miracles. In a village at the foot of a sacred mountain, lived an elderly weaver named Samuel, deeply revered for his unwavering faith and constant expectation of miracles. Samuel taught that every prayer should be uttered with the conviction that the impossible could happen. When we pray expecting miracles, he said, we open the doors to the manifestation of the divine in our lives. His teaching was not based solely on words but on lived experiences. Years ago, when the village faced a devastating drought, it was Samuel's hopeful prayer that preceded the unexpected rain that saved the crops and, with them, the entire village. Inspired by his example, the villagers began to adopt this attitude of expectant miracles in their own spiritual practices. They not only prayed in times of crisis but in all aspects of life, anticipating divine intervention in their daily affairs. This spiritual transformation led the community to experience numerous events that many would consider miraculous, from unexpected healings to fortuitous encounters that resolved complex problems. Samuel's story and his firm belief in the power of expecting miracles became a living testimony for everyone in the village, reaffirming that faith accompanied by genuine hope can move mountains and bring light even in the darkest moments.